Holy puck, Vercel. What did he just do? Today marked the beginning of Vercel Ship, day one of their online event announcing a bunch of new features and updates to the Vercel platform. And I must say, it absolutely did not disappoint. Today's event was all focused on storage, and they came out with not one, not two, not three, but four new products. Vercel has always been in a bit of an interesting position, business-wise. They don't run their own bare metal servers, but utilize infrastructure giants like AWS and Cloudflare to do so. These companies are massive and focus on enterprise deals, and they're at the point where it's really hard for them to stay up to date and deal with the tail end of trying to improve the day-to-day developer experience and such. Vercel has kind of always acted like the middleman, shipping great open source products to improve the lives of end developers, most famously through Next.js and how closely they've been working with the React team, making it seamlessly integrate with the Vercel suite of product offerings. And by not running their own bare metal servers, they pay AWS and Cloudflare as you pay them. So your app needs a lot of scale suddenly? Sure, AWS and Cloudflare can handle that scale, so that means Vercel can handle that scale. And with the day-to-day DX improvements that they offer, they can charge their own commission on top of the costs of AWS and Cloudflare and make good money. Well, today's storage launches aren't much different from that model. So of the four products, we have Vercel KB, a fast serverless Redis key value store. Then we have Vercel Postgres, which is a scalable serverless PostgreSQL database. We also have Vercel Blob, a serverless blob storage for things like images, videos, or any other types of objects. And finally, we have the Edge config, a global data store that allows you to read data from the edge. And it's optimized for data that's accessed frequently, but changed infrequently. So things like A/B testing feature flags or redirecting URLs and IP blocking and so on and so forth. What's amazing is that these are all really easy to use, just in proper Vercel fashion, right? So with Vercel KB, you just do kb.set, kb.get, and you just import it from import kb from Vercel/kb, and it will just figure things out automatically. So you don't have to set up any connections manually, none of that stuff. As long as you create the kb store on Vercel, like vercel.com, and it's linked to your project, everything just works. Same goes for all of the other things. So like with Vercel Postgres, just import db from Vercel/Postgres and start doing db.connect and the client.sql and execute whatever SQL queries you want. The one that I'm most excited about is Vercel Blob, because deploying, configuring, and managing S3 buckets is a pain in the ass. And I love the ease of use that Vercel Blob has to offer, which is also a really simple just put and get kind of deal. And given I basically already use Next.js pretty much 100% of the time, which is a lot of other web devs today as well, that's a very easy sell to folks like me. But nothing is perfect. So let's talk about how Vercel is building this. So similar to before, Vercel still doesn't run their own servers. And Vercel KB is offered through a partnership with Upstash. Vercel Postgres is offered through a partnership with Neon. And Vercel Blob is built on top of Cloudflare R2. So Cloudflare, that's fine, massive company, we know all of that. Vercel Blob is going to be amazing. But when it comes to KB and Postgres, this is where things get a little bit upsetting, to be honest. So with AWS and Cloudflare, Vercel deploying with them and charging the fees for the ease of use was great because they had a huge difference in the day-to-day developer experience. But compared to Upstash and Neon, Vercel is arguably bigger than both of them by themselves. And those two companies are probably going to get more users from Vercel than they got themselves. And because they're both relatively small, they've gone to great lengths to kind of make sure their service offerings are attractive and easy to use for developers and make it simple to integrate with themselves, unlike AWS and Cloudflare, which are so massive that they have more important issues than dealing with, and day-to-day DX. In fact, I've used Neon before for some projects and never really had much of an issue with it. The problem is, since they don't operate at the same scale as AWS or Cloudflare, that means their unit economics are more expensive. And with Vercel also tacking on their cut on top of the cost of Vercel Postgres and Vercel KB can grow pretty fast when you're operating at scale. Again, this is not to say that Vercel's DX is bad, right? They've done improvements to what Upstash or Neon can offer by themselves. And I'm 100% sure that a lot of people and a lot of companies would be more than happy to eat those costs and not worry about using a different service and making sure everything's working okay on that end, and let Vercel deal with all of that. It also has a decent free tier to go with it, but still with the cost of Vercel's abstraction, that means you're paying significantly more than using those services directly once you start sort of going beyond the free tier. And again, I bet a lot of folks are more than okay with that, and they're happy with that just because of the seamless interoperability it offers. They're basically, I think the analogy over there is they're basically the Apple of web development today, where over time, we're probably going to start caring more about the ecosystem that Vercel can offer than the technical details and how it compares to like some other XYZ service. Like, is the iPhone chip faster than the latest Samsung? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you care about Apple mostly because of its ecosystem, not because of is the screen 15 hertz slower or 15 hertz faster or whatever, right? So I think that's one thing to keep in mind. I do think, at least for side projects, things which I expect to stay in the free tier, I don't ever see myself now jumping to a different solution for KB or Postgres or blob storage or anything. I'm 100% just going to use this just because it's so easy, right? And I'm sure that same argument will just expand into like companies and startups going for ease of use and making lives of their developers easier than compared to like maybe saving a few dollars or something. And if you do get to a scale where the cost difference is like really large and you're spending maybe tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars more, maybe millions of dollars more than you would have by not using Vercel, maybe at that point, that's a good problem to have at that point, and maybe you try figuring it out then. But it's just something I wanted to bring up. Anyway, I can't believe this was just day one of Vercel Ship. We still have 4 more days left of the event. So we'll see you again very soon and do a recap of the whole event. But holy shit, guys. Just based on what we already saw on day one, Vercel is killing it. Peace out.